Hello, I'm Dan. This is another entry in the Complete Vinyl Collection series. We're going in reverse chronological order. We're more than halfway through at this point. We are now into the 1980s. I've got some great records to show. Let's see how quickly we can get through. Let's do it. Acoustic Alchemy, Natural Elements. This is an audiophile label or series from MCA. It's called MCA Master Series. These are kind of Windham Hill-esque. Everything is geared towards great sound, great recordings, quality vinyl, and Acoustic Alchemy made some pretty cool records, I think. That's from 1988. The first Fugazi, 1988. That's the last one of those in the collection. We got the man Robert Palmer, rest in peace. It's Heavy Nova. I found that one sealed for $1. Of course, it has Simply Irresistible on it. Big hit. Another Stanley Jordan. This is Flying Home. That one's on EMI. Stanley Jordan is just a phenomenal guitar player. Surfer Rosa, Pixies, 1988. Another 4AD reissue. This is one of those R&B songs from my childhood that I remember and found this years back. It's called Dial My Heart. It's a group called The Boys. And I remember hearing this, I believe it was in 1988, and there was a show called, I believe it was called Fun House, and for some reason they had this group on and they performed, and I thought this was a jam. So when I saw this 12-inch single, I was like, hell yes. The first Jude Cole record, I talked about him in the last one. This was self-titled in 1987 on Warner Brothers, and it's fine. It's also mixed by Chris Lord-Alge. I didn't even know that this existed until years later, when I was a big fan of A View from 3rd Street and the one after that, and I never really knew about this. I'll have to listen to this again, but it doesn't have the place in my head that the other ones do. Big soundtrack for me, The Secret of My Success, starring Michael J. Fox from 1987. I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid, and I definitely watched the TV version, because that's all that was available to me. It's probably best that I didn't see the full version until later. Even the TV cut was a little risque at times. But this is such a fun movie and a great soundtrack. A lot of David Foster tracks on there. In the last one, I talked about the Reavers. It used to be called Zeitgeist. This is the album after that original one I found called Saturday. This came out on Capitol, EMI. Found this for just a couple bucks at Amoeba Records. Got an original pressing of Bad, Michael Jackson, or at least, one of the original pressings. I'm sure there was a lot of these pressed. I listened to Bad a lot on tape when I was a kid. Got a collab from George Benson and Earl Clue. It's called Collaboration, appropriately enough. They were both on Warner Brothers at the time. Alex Degrassi put out several records on Wyndham Hill, and then this came out on something called Novus, which is a subsidiary of RCA, I guess. I guess it's their audiophile brand. Alex Degrassi is another excellent guitarist. And then we got Come On Pilgrim from the Pixies, 1987. Again, 4AD reissue. We got a Red Rain 12-inch single from Peter Gabriel from the album So. Big song. I found this, I think, at Goodwill. I just thought the cover was excellent. I really enjoyed that track. It's also got 2 other songs on the B-side. Got Invisible Touch by Genesis. Land of Confusion on there. Top Gun soundtrack, of course. 1986. Bruce Hornsby in the Range. The Way It Is. Such an excellent song. From 86. We got Human League, the song Human. It's a 12-inch single. It's got an extended version of it and an instrumental version of it. This is a hell of a track from the 80s. That was a cool find. Another Stanley Jordan. Standards Volume 1. It's got some really great covers. Sound of Silence, Georgia on My Mind. Moon River, My Favorite Things. That's a really killer cover. Another Windham Hill sampler, 1986. And another Steve Winwood, back in the High Life. This is the jam. Higher Love is such a killer track. Sure, I got that for $1 or so somewhere. Another from the MCA Master Series, Alone, But Never Alone, by Larry Carlton. I thought that was an attractive cover, and it turned out to be a really, really nice record. I really like the sound of it. Mr. Mister, welcome to the real world. Broken Wings, of course. My friend in a band called Panic Division covered Broken Wings on an album called Songs from the Glass House. Check that shit out. And this is that album from Zeitgeist, later called The Reverse. It's called Translate Slowly. And when I found this, it just, the cover, the aesthetic just spoke to me. I knew I would like it, even if I just had this cover. I don't know what it is about this. It seems very nostalgic. It's from 1985, and it turns out the music is great. I really enjoyed it. Alternative indie rock of the 80s, kind of, I guess maybe REM a little bit, college radio maybe. I love this record. And I love Earl Clue, and this is the first one that I found, sort of Fountain Shuffle. And this is a Quiex limited edition pressing that I found later, and it does sound really nice. Check that out, the Rocky IV soundtrack. I found this at a Goodwill. I couldn't believe it was still there when I found it. It's only in okay condition, but I've never seen it again. And I listened to this album so much on tape as a kid. Absolutely wore it out. Promise by Sade. Sweetest Taboo is on there. Phenomenal. And this was really the first record that I bought in earnest. I saw it at a Goodwill. I thought, damn, that's pretty cool. And then I pulled it out and saw that, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to get this. And I got a turntable shortly thereafter, and my collection kicked off. Started right there. Talking Heads, Little Creatures, 1985. And the phenomenal Magic Touch from Stanley Jordan. His debut on Blue Note. Doesn't get much better from the 80s than this. Songs from the Big Chair, Tears for Fears, 1985. This is a great original pressing. I've had the Mo-Fi reissue, which was pretty good, but just didn't really beat this. So I just hung on to this one that I got for like $5. This is, I believe, a still sealed copy of Dream into Action from Howard Jones from 1985, and Dr. Deadwax himself sent me this. I think I'd had a copy of this, and he sent me this one, so I kept it, and I still haven't opened it. Here is a sealed copy of what I thought was his best at the time. When this LP came out, I had my hair like his. I would have loved to have seen that. So yeah, that was a gift from Mark that I appreciate. Also got Diamond Life from Sade. Smooth Operator, track 1. Can't beat it. Brothers in Arms. And this is still in the original shrink wrap with the original price tag from 1985. Fred Meyer, $8.49. The phenomenal Dire Straits record. Back to the Future soundtrack. Again, one that I played over and over again when I was a kid on tape. I think I've had a couple versions of this, and this one sounded a bit better, or maybe had a better cover. This was really cool to find. A Winter's Solstice by Wyndham Hill. I think this kind of became their jam through the 90s, was holiday-themed stuff. This is from 85. Sampler, 1984. You got that Dan Siegel, Another Time, Another Place, that I just showed recently. Dave Grusin, Nightlines on GRP. After I found this, and I thought it was pretty cool, I bought a few other Dave Grusins. I don't think I've hung on to the rest of them, but I still think this is pretty neat. More classics. Thompson Twins, Into the Gap. Another Howard Jones, Humans Lib from 1984. What Is Love is a song that I heard Duncan Sheik cover, and that's kind of how I learned of Howard Jones. Michael Hedges was also a Windham Hill artist, and he was really incredible. And I say was because he sadly passed away, but he put out some really excellent guitar music. This is Aerial Boundaries. This is Vapor Drawings, another Windham Hill. This is 1983. Mark Isham. He did a lot of soundtrack stuff, I believe. From Minor Threat, we got the self-titled that's on green vinyl. This is like a 2008 reissue, something like that. Originally from 83, along with Out of Step. Those are reissued on Discord. We got the US version of The Hurting, Tears of Fears. I think I found that for $1. The Crossing, Big Country. And of course, In a Big Country is the song from this album, which rules. Okay, so I'm now on my third battery and my second SD card. This is the fourth video that I filmed today. Really trying to get these done while I have some time. So let's finish it up. Synchronicity, The Police, an excellent album from 1983. We got the Superman 3 soundtrack. Not the best of the bunch, either film or soundtrack-wise, but I did always like that poster. My favorite, Talking Heads, Speaking in Tongues. This Must Be the Place is just one of my favorite songs. I love it. This is one of the Alex Degrassi from Windham Hill, Southern Exposure from 1983. Another Windham Hill. This is Shadowfax. It's called Shadow Dance from 83. William Ackerman, Past Light, 83. Windham Hill. Earl Clue, Lowride. Check that out. That's cool as hell. Also from 83. Got ZZ Top, Eliminator. I might have found this for 50 cents in one of my early digs. And I still have it. Comedian, Eddie Murphy, 1983. This is a gold stamp promo as well. An Evening with Windham Hill Live, 1983. William Ackerman, George Winston, Alex Degrassi, and Michael Hedges. Another one from the early days of collecting. Yes, 90125. I think it's a great record. Winter into Spring, George Winston on Windham Hill, 1982. Finally getting into some Sonny Stitt. This is In Style. This was released in 1982 on Muse. Weather Report. I think this is self-titled. Yeah, 1982. Jazz Fusion. Another early 50 Cent pickup, Toto 4. I mean, you gotta have Africa and Rosanna, of course. Another Windham Hill. This is Ira Stein and Russell Walder. Elements. This is piano and oboe. Gary Peacock, Voice from the Past. Jack DeJohnette on this one as well. This is an ECM from 1982. And the first album from Stanley Jordan that I didn't even know about until fairly recently. Touch Sensitive. That came out in 82 on Tangent Records. Of course, I have a copy of Thriller. Nothing really needs to be said about that. This is a collection of theme songs from the great Mike Post, who did a lot of theme songs in the 80s. Hill Street Blues, Magnum P.I., Rockford Files, of course, The Great American Hero, Believe It or Not. That was kind of a cool one to find. Another Shadowfax, this one's self-titled, 82 on Windham Hill. The Peter Gabriel album from 82, I forget what the nickname is for this one. I'll spell it out. Business as Usual, Men at Work, another one that I found real early on. There's a real clean copy of it too. 2 editions of Rocky 3 from 1982. This was the first one I found, and this was sealed actually. And then later on I found this one, and I couldn't leave it. And one of the reasons is the Rocky 3 soundtrack on vinyl is like the first real experience I had with vinyl records when I was a kid. My cousins had a all-in-one record player. I think it had built-in speakers, and then there was like a rack on the bottom for storage. And I would beg them to put this on. And so when I saw this, it just jumped right back to me. So that was a special one to find. I'm sure I don't need both of these. I don't know which one sounds better, but there you go. Haircut 100. This is a really excellent record that I found in a dollar bin one day. It's called Pelican West. And the song Love Plus One is so great. Look up that music video. It is such a jam. I was pleasantly surprised by that one. Still in 82, we got Mythical Adventures from JeanLuc Ponti. I've collected many of his records over the years. I haven't kept all of them, but there's one. Got the Gold, Steely Dan. I haven't kept all the Steely Dan records that I've had in the past, but I figured I'd hold on to this one. Windham Hill, 1982 sampler. This one's a promotional copy. George Winston's December, pretty classic. Windham Hill from 82. And there's the 1981 sampler. And finally, the Superman 2 soundtrack. Don't remember where I found this, but it's kind of cool in that it has a laser etch on the surface of the record. I have never seen that before, or at least at the time I never had. Pretty neat. And that will do it for this edition of the Complete Vinyl Collection series. Like I said, I've been filming a lot today. I'm going to wrap it up. And we have 4 more cubes left. So the next time I sit up and do this, we might actually get through all the way to the end. So until then, thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy your music.